amae tomara charana dori. Shaya bega dhoni, shaya dosha shogi, shaya guna deho sate. Shaya satsanga, deho he amare, boshashi sangera ashe. Ekaki amar, nahi pai palo, hare namaste sane. Ekaki amar, nahi pai palo, hare namaste sane. Tumi kripa kori shadha bindu diya, deho Krishna nama dhane. Krishna se toma, Krishna si se paro, tomara shakati ache. Krishna se toma, Krishna si se paro, tomara shakati ache. Amito Ganga, Krishna Krishna boli, Daitava pache pache. Amito Ganga, Krishna Krishna boli, Daitava pache pache. Ohe Vaishnava Thakur, Joyala Sagara, Idase Karuna Kori. Something about the song Ohe Vaishnava Thakur. And just over the last 2 days, I had the opportunity to talk to a couple of senior godbrothers. One of them is Shyamasundar Prabhu from the early days of the Krishna consciousness movement, and the other was Yogeshwara Prabhu, also from the early days. And I was considering how rare it is to be able to talk to somebody who is with Prabhupada on the planet, who served at his lotus feet directly and saw him in various moods and circumstances. And as we were reading in the Chaitanya Charitamrita recently, Srila Prabhupada was talking about how we should take advantage of and relish the association of senior devotees. He said in a paragraph, it's not just the spiritual master that one takes the association of, but he said practically senior godbrothers, god sisters who are steadily engaged in devotional service and advanced are a great source of inspiration and should be treated almost on the level of one's spiritual master, because the Vaishnava is the carrier of Krishna's mercy. And Shyamasundar Prabhu told me that he's getting ready to give a talk at Harvard, and he had 2 points he wanted to make because the topic was about how to thrive in times of calamity. Should I tell you the 2 points he made?
Yes.
First point, he said that there's always times of calamity. There's not a time when there wasn't a calamity happening. He said it's only a trick of the mind to think that, that there was some time in the past when everything was peaceful. But if you just think back to your history lessons, they're all marked by world wars and calamitous situations. There's never a time when the material world is absolutely peaceful. Even in Satya Yuga, Hiranyakashipu shows up and wrecks it for everybody. So you can count on that. And the second thing he said, it was very heartfelt, and it's from his personal experience. He said that you have to get Guru Kripa, the mercy of the Guru. And I know for devotees from that era who specifically became attached to Prabhupada in a special setting, it was family-like, and they worked very hard to please Prabhupada. There was a sense of how everything was dependent on the mercy of the Guru. So he was saying one has to receive that special mercy. And when I talked to Yogeshwara Prabhu, he just called to talk. And he said, life is so busy, we're all doing so many things. He just wanted to talk to another God brother and see how I was doing, see what I was doing, and so forth. So this song, Oh Hey Vaishnava Thakur, it's a reminder of how dependent we are on the Vaishnavas, all of them. And if we take advantage in a mood of service and appreciation to the devotees, then we can attain all benefits. And that's why we say the mantra of Vansha Kalpatarubhascha, Kripasindhavevacha, etc., that devotees are literally like desire trees, and they can fulfill all of our desires, period. So this next song continues in the mood of appreciating the devotees. It's written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, our favorite songwriter Vaishnav, because everything he wrote was a hit. Bhajare, bhajare ama, manati manda. Bhajan vina gati nahi re. Bhaja braja bane Radha Krishna charanaravinda. Bhaja Rajapani Radha Guru Nityananda Bhaja. Goda Krishna Avida Chere. Guru Krishna Preshna Chere. Mana Srinivas Haridas Murari Mukunda Goda Premishnara Narare. Nara Srinivas Haridase. Nara Rupa Sanatana Jiva Raghunatha Dvandva Hara. Krishna Bhajanjali Kordere. Rupa Sanatane Kara. Nara Raghava Gopala Bhatta Swarup Ramananda Smara. Krishna Prema Jali Chaure. Swarup Ramanande Smara. Nara Kushti Saha Karnapura Saint Shivananda Aditya Smara Smara. Goshti Saha Karnapure. Mararupanuga Sadhu Jana Bhajana Ananda Smara. Bhaje Bhaskari Chaure. Rupanuga Sadhu Smara. Jaya Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Jaya Vaishnav Thakur. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Narad Muni Bajai Vina Radhika Ramana Name. Speaking of Vaishnavas. Namamani Bhagata Gita Same Narad Muni Bhajai Vina Radhika Ramana Name Amiyadara Varishe Gana Shravana Jugale Kriya Bhagane Nache Bhariya Panaiya Narad Muni Bhajarina Radhika Ramana Madhuri Pura Asamo Khashi Mataya Jagat Janne Kehova Kande Kehova Nache Kehova Mane Mane Narad Muni Bhajarina Radhika Ramana Panjavadana Narade Hori Premarasa Ganaro Kamalasana Nachya Bole Bolo Bolo Adi Bolo Narad Muni Bhajarina Ramana Sahasranama Parama Sukhe Hari Hari Boli Gaya Nam Prabhabe Matilo Vishva Nam Rasa Sabe Narad Muni Bhajarina Radhika Ramana Shri Krishna Nam Rasane Puri Puralo Amara Asha Bhakti Vinod Hariya Vaishnava Seva Ishara Kayeche Keba. Guru Puja. Shri Guru Vandanam. Chadiya Vaishnava Sheva Nishtara Payeche Keba. Namasheshtam Manamapi Shachi Putramatra Sarupam Rupam Tasyagrajam Urupanim Matarin Goshtavatim Radha Kundam Girivaramho Radhika Madhavasham Rapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Guru Tam Natosmi Hey Guru Jnanada Dina Bando Swananda Data Paranayika Sindo Vrindavana Sina Hitavatara Prasida Radha Pranaya Prachara Hey Dina Bando Kurunaika Sindo Kuru Prasadam Maimanda Mudhe Raksha Padare Bahupapagade Tatpada Padme Shri Batishta Krishne Yadyapi Amar Guru Chaitanya Radas Tatapi Janiye Ami Kahara Prakash Guru Krishna Rupahara Shastra Pramane Guru Rupe Krishna Kripa Karena Bhaktagane Shiksha Guru Keta Jani Krishna Sarupa Antaryami Bhakta Shrestha Edurupa Naivo Payantya Pachitim Kavayastadesha Ramayushapi Kridim Ridamudasvarantaha Yotarabahistaduvritam Ashubham Badudvam Acharya Chaitya Without serving the representative of Krishna, nobody can approach Krishna. I bow down to the beautiful lotus feet of my spiritual master. By his causeless mercy, I have obtained the supreme holy name, the divine mantra, the son of Shachimata, the association of Srila Sarup Damodar, Rupa Goswami and his older brother, Sanatana Goswami, the supreme abode of Mathura, the blissful abode of Vrindavan, the divine Radha Kunda, the Govardhan Hill, and the desire within my heart for the loving service of Sri Radhika. O spiritual master, O giver of divine wisdom, O friend of the fallen, you are the giver of your own bliss, you are the only ocean of mercy. Although dwelling in Vrindavan, you have descended for the welfare of fallen souls like myself, and you are preaching the divine love of Radha for Krishna. Please be kind upon me. O friend of the lowly, O Gurudev, you are the only ocean of mercy. I'm a dull fool and have committed hundreds of thousands of offenses. I've fallen into a dense myriad of sins. Therefore grace me with your mercy, so that my mind may be fixed on your lotus feet, Madam Shri Krishna. Although I know that my spiritual master is servitor of Shri Chaitanya, I know him also as a plenary manifestation of the Lord. Every living entity is eternally a servant of Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Therefore, the spiritual master cannot be other than a servant of Lord Chaitanya. The spiritual master's eternal occupation is to expand the service of the Lord by training disciples in the service mood. According to the deliberate opinion of all revealed scriptures, the spiritual master is not different from Krishna. Lord Krishna, in the form of the spiritual master, delivers his devotees. The relationship of a disciple with his spiritual master is as good as his relationship with the Supreme Lord. Spiritual masters always represent themselves as the humblest servitors of the personality of Godhead. but the disciple must look upon the spiritual master as the manifested representation of God. One should know the instructing spiritual master to be the personality of Krishna. Lord Krishna manifests himself as the Supersoul and as the greatest devotee of the Lord. The initiating spiritual master is a personal manifestation of Srila Madan Mohan Vigraha, whereas the instructing spiritual master is a personal representative of Srila Govinda Dev Vigraha. O my Lord, transcendental poets and experts in spiritual science could not fully express their indebtedness to you, even if they were endowed with a prolonged lifetime of Brahma. For you appear in two features, externally as the Acharya and internally as the Super Soul, to deliver the embodied living being by directing them how to come to you. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain the devotional service. Bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace one could cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is that my conscience is purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens our darkened eyes and fills our hearts with transcendental knowledge. He is our Lord, birth of birth. In ecstatic prema emanates, by him weakness destroyed. Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord and Master of devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Puts the shade of your lotus feet. Fame is spread all over the world. Shri Guru Charan Padma Vallabha Gauravani Prasad Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Gadadhar Srivasadi Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Stothara Satashi Shrimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Stothara Satashi Shrimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Kodi Vaishnavini Ki Jai. Nama Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Sagaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Jamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Sambeta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande Haribo. Now we're setting up for our Sloka examinations. Hare Krishna. We'll be set up within the next 2 minutes and 32 seconds.
Someone asked. Maharaj is going to speak initially. So
Maharaj will speak first, and I'll keep on with me.
Where is Maharaj mic?
Did you put it down here somewhere, maybe?
Where is the speaker mic?
He is there. Speaker mic is on the speaker already. Where is my garlands?
And then you can put up the verses.
1 second. Sir?
Welcome, everyone. Special welcome to Brian Peterson, who's I see here. Welcome back. Oisashiburi, as they say in Japan. So good to see you after so long. And Bhakti Aditi has come here all the way from Portland, Oregon, so welcome her. And welcome to everybody. This morning we're going to be going over the verses that we've been studying over the last few months. That'll be from selected verses from the 11th and 12th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And so, you want us to recite them now together? Okay. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Viditam Dena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Okay, so we'd like to have our harmoniist in place and give us our tune. That's our tune. Payam dvitiya binibeshatasya isharapetasya viparyayo smriti tanmaya yato bhuta abhajetam bhaktyayekayesham gurudeva tatma Evam vratasva priyanama kirtya chatanurago drutachitta uchay pasatyato rodatirotyagayati umadavandrityati lokabhaya bhakti parishanubhavo viraktir Anyatra chaisha trika ekakala Prapadyamanasya yatashnatassus Tushti pushti shut apayonugasam Shri Habiravacha Sarva bhuteshu ya pashyet Bhagavad bhavamatmanaha Bhutani bhagavatyatmani Esha Bhagavatottamaha Ishvare Taladineshu Balisheshu Dushatsucha Prema Maitri Kripopeksha Yakaroti Samadhyamaha Archayam Eva Haraye Ujam Yashradaye Hate Natad Bhakteshu Chanyesu Sapakta Prakrita Smritaha Tasmad Gurum Prapadyeta Jignasu Shreya Uttamam Shabde Parecha Nishnatam Brahmanyupashramashrayam Shri Chamasu Uvacha Mukha Bahurupadebhya Purushasya Shramai Saha Chatvaro Jagnire Varna Gunar Vipradaya Prata Ya Esham Purusham Sakshad Atma Prabhavam Ishwaram Na Bhajantya Vijananti Sthanad Prashta Patantyada Ya Loke Vyavaya Mishamadya Seva Nitya Hi Jantor Nahi Tatra Chodana Yavastitisteshu Vivaha Yagna Suragrahir Asu Nivritya Ishta Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Sangopangastra Parshadam Yagnai Sankirtana Prayer Yajantihi Sumeda Saha Eyam Abhishtadoham. Can you do it like that? Deyam Sada Paripanyam Abhishtadoham Tirtaspadam Shivivarinchi Nutam Sharanyam Prityatiham Pranatapala Bhavadipotam Vande Mahapurushat Charanarvindam Tyaktva Sadusya Repsita Raja Lakshmim Dharnishta Aya Vachasaya Dagadaranyam Mayamragam Taita Kipsitaman Vadavar Vande Mahapurushate Charanarvindam Kalim Sabajayantyaya Gunagya Sarabhaginaha Yatra Sankirtane Naiva Sarvaswarto Bilabhyate Devarshi Bhuta Nandranam Pitrinam Naking Karonayam Ranicharajan Sarvatmanaya Sharanam Sharanyam Kato Mukundam Parihritta Kartam Sapadamulam Bhatata Priyasya Taktanya Bhavasya Hari Pareshaha Vikarma Yachcho Patitam Katanchit Tunoti Sarvam Hridisannivishtaha Vasudurlamamidam Bahusambhavante Manushyamartadamanityamapi hitira Durnam yate tanapate-danumrityu-yavam Nrishayasaya vishayakam sarvatasyat Shabda Brahmani Nishnato Nanishnayat Pareyadi Shramastasya Shramapalo Yadhenum Ivarakshataha Nasarayati Mam Yogo Nasankyam Dharma Uddhava Nasvadhyayas Tapastyago Yata Bhaktir Mamorjita Bhaktyaham Mikaya Graya Shatayatma Priyasatam Bhakti Punati Mamnishta Shrapakam Apisambhavat Archanam Kaniyam Navamanyeta Kaichit Namartya Budhya Suyeta Sarvadeva Mayoguru Shruti Pratyakshamaytiyam Anumanam Chatushtayam Pramaneshwaram Astanad Vikalpatsa Virajyate Adhara Paricharyayam Sarvajñer Abhibandanam Madbhakta Puchabhyadika Sarvabhuteshu Mandati Tavat Karma Nakurita Nanirvidyeta Yavata Makata Shravanadava Shatayavan Najayate Videha Brahmadyam Sulabham Sadurlabham Plavam Sukalpam Gurkarnadaram Mayana Kulena Nabasvateritam Puman Bhavabhim Nataritsa Atmaha Etam Saastaya Paratmanishtam Adyasitam Purvatamar Maharshihi Aham Tarishami Duranta Param Tahotu Kandam Rinashevayaya Haivopyaham Pyapachitim Kavayastavesha Ramayushapi Kridam Riddham Udasmaranta Yontarvahistanu Britam Ashubam Vadumvan Acharya Chaitya Papusha Swagatim Yananti Asanskrita Kriyahina Rajasa Tamasavrita Prajaste Bakshi Yishyanti Mlechya Rajanya Rupinaha Shri Shukha Uvacha Tatashchanutanam Dharma Satyam Shaucham Shamadhaya Balina Balina Rajan Nam Shantyahur Balam Smitihi Dampatye Birichil Hetur Mayaiva Vyavaharike Stritve Punsve Chahiratir Vipratve Sutramevahi Lingameva Shrama Kyatav Anyonya Patikaranam Avritya Nyaya Gaurpalyam Panditye Chapalam Vachaha Anadyatat Sadutve Sadutve Dhamma Evatu Svikara Eva Chodvahe Snanameva Prasadanam Dureva Yayanam Tirtam Lavanyam Keshadaranam Udaram Bharatam Satyatve Darshnyam Evahi Daksham Kutumba Bharanam Yashorte Dharma Sevanam Rajahi Lubdai Rajanyer Nirgunyer Dasukarmapi Akshinnadhara Dravina Yasyanti Girikananam Shakamulam Nisha Shaudra Pala Pushpash Pibojana Anavrishya Vinangshanti Durbiksha Karapidata Kalir Dosha Nide Rajan Asti Heko Mahanguna Kirtana Deva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Param Vraje Krite Yadhyayato Vishnum Tretayam Yajato Mukai Kapare Paricharyayam Kalotadari Kirtana Shri Sutu Vacha Yam Brahma Varunendra Uta. Can we start over, please? Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Maruta Studvanti Divyai Stave Vedai Sangha Parakramo Manashyudaya Gayanti Yam Samaga Yana Vastita Tadgatena Manasa Ashyanti Yam Yogino Yasyantam Navidu Sura Suragana Devaya Tasmai Namah Sarvedam Shri Bhagavantam Ishyate Tadra Samrita Triptasya Nanyatrasya Drati Koche Nimnaganam Yatha Ganga Devanam Achuto Yatha Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu Purananam Idam Tata Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam Yasmin Paramahamsam Ekam Amalam Yadam Param Giyate Tatra Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam Naishkarnyamavishkritam Tachimban Supatam Vicharana Paro Bhaktya Vimuchenara Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranashanam Pranamo Dukha Shamanas Tam Namani Harim Param. Om Tat Sat.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Shastra. Okay, so while we're rearranging for the next segment here, maybe I'll give a bit of a background of what we're doing, why we're doing it, and what's going on, basically. As you all know, many of you might know that we've been practicing verses for the last many months at ISV. Some time back, we started doing Prahlad Maharaja's prayers. The last set of verses we did was Queen Kunti's prayers. And right now we did these set of verses, which was selected verses from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th and 12th cantos. What we're going to do in the next segment while we're setting up is that we're going to have some of the devotees who've memorized the entire set of verses come up, and we're going to ask them some questions to test their knowledge and understanding and just get a deeper understanding of the set of verses as a community. So they'll bring in the chairs and we'll get set up briefly. Hare Krishna. So may I invite the following devotees, Aname, Shamalangi Mataji, Apara Gaurangi Mataji, Kautukarnava Prabhu, Nikunjanayak Prabhu, Malini Mataji, and Achyuta Chaitanya Prabhu. So I have questions prepared based on all the verses that we just recited. I'll ask each of you, I won't ask you directly, I'll ask a question. Anyone can choose to answer it, whoever has an answer and wants to. More than one person can also answer it. The only request I have is that each person answers a question at least once. Let's get started. So if Adri Raj Prabhu can please give the translation for 11 to 42.
Devotion, direct experience of the Supreme Lord, and detachment from other things. These three occur simultaneously for one who has taken shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in the same way that pleasure, nourishment, and relief from hunger come simultaneously and increasingly with each bite for a person engaged in eating.
Does anyone recall the Sanskrit verse? Anyone? Yeah, go ahead.
Bhakti pareshanubhavo viraktiranyatra chaishatrika ekakala prapadyamanasya tashnatasya stushti pushti kshudapayo nughasam.
Haribol. So there's an analogy given in this verse. Could someone maybe elaborate a bit more on the analogy?
Hare Krishna. So there are three factors which are mentioned in this verse. There's an analogy of eating with the process of devotional service. When one surrenders to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it is compared to taking a meal. So there are three things when we take one morsel. We receive tushti, which is satisfaction. We receive pushti, which is nourishment. And our hunger goes away. So these are three things. And as we surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we receive devotion. And then we receive experience, direct experience of Krishna. And our detachment from the material things happen automatically.
Yes, perfect. Now let's try to take it one step further. In the commentary to this verse, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur actually describes that this analogy breaks at a certain point. Does anyone recall why it breaks, or what's the reasoning for it?
If I remember correctly, he mentions that with food there is a cessation point, but with bhakti there is no cessation point. One can just keep going.
Exactly. You can eat. You can't eat an infinite number of gulab jamuns, but you can do an infinite amount of worship to Krishna, and that worship will only deepen whatever worship you do, make it better. Perfect. We can move on to a different verse, maybe. Adhiraj Prabhu, if you can go to Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam. That is 11.532.
The translation.
And the translation, yes.
In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead who constantly sings the names of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions.
So who's this verse talking about? Okay, that was the easy one. But so in this verse, there's a long term in the Sanskrit, Sangopanga Sangopanga Pashadam. So Sangha, Upanga, Astra, and Pashadam, right? So in the translation, we saw his confidential servants, his confidential companions, his servants, and his various associates. Then he also mentions Astra, a weapon. So what is this weapon of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
His beauty is a weapon in this age of Kali Yuga, because people can get attracted to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just by his beauty. That's his secret weapon.
Yes, exactly. Adhiraj Prabhu, if you can go to verses 11.5.2 and 11.5.3, and then give the translation for both.
Sri Chamasa said, each of the four social orders, headed by the Brahmanas, was born through different combinations of the modes of nature from the face, arms, thighs, and feet of the Supreme Lord in his universal form. Thus the four spiritual orders were also generated. If any of the members of the four Varnas and four Ashramas fail to worship or intentionally disrespect the personality of Godhead, who is the source of their own creation, they will fall down from their position into a hellish state of life.
So this verse talks about the four Varnas and the four Ashramas. How does this fit into modern day society? What is the purpose? Why is it relevant? What's the use case for it today?
So there are four Varnas and four Ashramas. The four Varnas are, social orders are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. So the reason is, in case of Kshatriya, there are soldiers who are protecting the country or protecting the, So, and for working class, that is Vaishyas. For Brahmanas, there are people who are wise, and Shudras are the people who are like basically working in corporate but under someone. So all these levels of people, basically Srimad Bhagavatam is saying is nobody is exempt from practicing Krishna consciousness. All the four can practice Krishna consciousness, including the spiritual orders, which is Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and also Sannyas. And yeah,
exactly. So what I got from what you said was that there's a way of dividing people naturally, and it's a way of ultimately living your life in a way that's more conducive for bhakti, for devotional service.
And the reason is because all these four are coming from the limbs of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if they are originating from them, from Lord, then better to serve Him. And if they don't do, then they will fall down from their position.
Exactly. Thank you. Maybe we can transition to 11.5.33 and 11.5.34. And if you can read the translation for just 11.5.33 first, then we'll pause.
My dear Lord, you are the Mahapurusha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and I worship your lotus feet, which are the only eternal object of meditation. Those feet destroy the embarrassing conditions of material life and freely award the greatest desire of the soul, the attainment of pure love of Godhead. My dear Lord, your lotus feet are the shelter of all holy places and of all saintly authorities in the line of devotional service, and are honored by powerful demigods like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. My Lord, you are so kind that you willingly protect all those who simply bow down to you with respect, and thus you mercifully relieve all the distress of your servants. In conclusion, my Lord, your lotus feet are actually the suitable boat for crossing over the ocean of birth and death, and therefore even Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva seek shelter at your lotus feet.
So based on this translation, and according to the purport of this verse, who is this verse about? And then can you elaborate on maybe parts of the translation, maybe how it connects to Mahaprabhu and his pastimes? And maybe we can show the translation on screen. That might be helpful. If you can take maybe any part of the translation and connect it to Mahaprabhu's pastimes.
So the part where it says about Vrityartiham Pranatapala Bhavabdi, Vrityartiham Pranatapala. So whoever bows down to him, he actually removes the distress of all those people. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu removed the distress of Vasudev Datta. So that is one of the examples here.
That's a great example. And then we can go to the next verse.
O Mahapurusha, I worship your lotus feet. You gave up the association of the goddess of fortune and all her opulence, which is most difficult to renounce and is hankered after by even the great demigods. Being the most faithful follower of the path of religion, you thus left for the forest in obedience to a Brahmana's curse. Out of sheer mercifulness, you chased after the fallen, conditioned souls who are always in pursuit of the false enjoyment of illusion, and at the same time engaged in searching out your own desired object, Lord Shyama Sundar.
Same question, who is this verse about? I'll give you a hint, there's more than one answer.
So this verse is also about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but in the purport we see that it can also be applicable to Lord Sri Ramachandra or Lord Krishna as well. So all three have been, you can find their qualities here. So
Exactly, and maybe we can do the same thing. Take some portion of the translation and connect it to either Ram Bhagwan's pastimes or Krishna's pastimes.
So Dharmishta Arya Vachasaya Dagadaranyam. So Mahaprabhu, he's so fixed in religiousness just to make the words of a Brahmana's curse true. He goes to the forest. So that is about Mahaprabhu. And Sri Ramachandra, just to make his father's words true, he also goes to the forest. So those are two examples that I can think of. And the first one, Tyaktva Shudustya Surepshita Raja Lakshmi, Sri Krishna in Mathura, he disregards all the the beautiful ladies over there. So that's one example.
Wow, you got all three. I'm only going to ask one. Yeah, Aname would like to add some more to that.
So for this one, for at least to explain Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you could do it like this. So Tyaktva Sudhishchita Surepsta Rajya Lakshmi. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave up his wife, Lakshmiji, and then Dharmishta, he was fixed in Dharma, and then Arya Vachasa, following the curse of a Brahmana, who told him that he couldn't have any material happiness. So following that, he went to Yadagad Aranyam, he went to the forest. So forest could be explained as he took the renounced order, became a sannyasi. And then Maya Mrigam Daitayepsitam Anvathavat. So Anvathavat is like running after, and then he ran after Maya Mrigam, the false deer. So that could be Lord Ramachandra technically, that Lord Ramachandra was running after the deer, but you could also do Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is running after the living entities who are running after the false Maya of trying to enjoy in this material world. And he's trying to save them. And then one day Mahaprabhu Shrite Charanarvindam, I offer my obeisances to that person.
What an amazing breakdown. Thank you so much. If we can transition to 11.542. And please recite the translation.
One who has thus given up all other engagements and has taken full shelter at the lotus feet of Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is very dear to the Lord. Indeed, if such a surrendered soul accidentally commits some sinful activity, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is seated within everyone's heart, immediately takes away the reaction to such sin.
We can leave the verse on the screen. So in this verse, given this verse, right, how can the Lord tolerate that his orders be occasionally neglected, even by his devotees?
In the verse, it says Priyasya, because devotees are very dear to the Lord. So just like a father tolerates a son's misbehavior, the Lord, to whom devotees are very dear, he tolerates them.
Exactly, that was spot on. Thank you so much. Maybe we can transition back to the beginning if we go to 11.237. Before you say the translation. Anyone know the first verse? Anyone can recite it? Oh, okay, well.
Bhayam dvitiya abhiniveshatasya dishadapetasya viparyayo smritihi tanmayayato buddha bhajetam bhakte kayesham gurudevatatma.
Prabhu, can you give the translation?
Fear arises when a living entity misidentifies himself as the material body because of absorption in the external illusory energy of the Lord. When the living entity thus turns away from the Supreme Lord, he also forgets his own constitutional position as a servant of the Lord. This bewildering, fearful condition is affected by the potency for illusion called Maya. Therefore, an intelligent person should engage unflinchingly in the unalloyed devotional service of the Lord, under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, whom he should accept as his worshipable deity and as his very life and soul.
Okay, this question's a bit long, so you have to listen closely. According to Srila Sridhar Swami, one can say, since fear is caused by ignorance, fear can be dispelled by knowledge, and there's no need to worship the Lord. The living entity falsely identifies with his material body, family, society, and so on, and he simply has to give up this false identification. Then what will Maya be able to do? To summarize that, why does one need to worship the Lord? What can Maya do for someone if they just give up this false identification?
So in Bhagavad Gita it is mentioned that even if one has knowledge, that is mode of goodness, but it can bring pride that I am very knowledgeable. And that can bring us away, again, bring us down from the position of goodness also if the pride comes.
Exactly. To add on to that, there's the verse in the public. Oh yeah, Mali Masi, go ahead.
Even though you have a knowledge, but Krishna says, Mamaivaamsha Jiva Loke, we are eternally part and parcels of Krishna, and our duty is to serve Krishna. So that is the most important part.
Yes. To add on to that, there's a verse in the Bhagavad Gita that says, "This divine energy of mine, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it." So exactly what you were saying, we have to still worship Krishna, because if we surrender to him, only then we can cross the ocean, the three modes, the ocean of nescience. Great job. Would anyone like to act? Well, we're going to do charades for one. Maybe we can have one devotee just act out a verse. So Adhiraj Prabhu will show you the translation, and you have to act it out the best you can. And the devotees in the chairs, you can try to guess the verse. You can say Sanskrit or English.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Evam vratasva priyanama kirtya jata raghva chitta vichay hasatyadaro diti rauti gayati unmadavan rityati lokabhya.
Could you elaborate, or could anyone elaborate on the verse?
Evam vratasva priyanama kirtya.
So, in this way, one who's taken the vow of Swapriya Namakirta, of like chanting the name of the Lord that he likes the best, Jata Anurago Chitta Uche. So in that person, attachment to our Lord arises, and his heart melts, and loudly he begins to he begins to laugh, cry, wail, roti gayati, sing. Unmadavan, like a madman, nrityati, he dances, lokabahya, like not worrying about outsiders.
Exactly. Yes, maybe we can move on to... Go ahead. Now, there are three verses in this... There's three verses in this set of verses that describe three different maybe groupings of devotees. Does anyone know which three verses I'm referring to? And could you recite all three? Or one. You can also pass it on if you'd like.
Shri Haverupacha Sarvabhuteshu ya pashyet bhagavad bhavamatmana bhutani bhagavati atmani esha bhagavatottama. So this verse talks about the Uttama Adhikari, that how they're able to see the presence of Lord in all living entities, and also able to see all living entities as part and parcel of the Lord. And the next two verses talk about the Madhyama Adhikari and the Kanishta Adhikari.
Perfect. Now, you mentioned the Uttama Adhikari. Can anyone give an example from our scriptures of someone who might be an example of an Uttama Adhikari?
Prahlad Maharaj.
And how does he fit what the verse is saying?
He was actually seeing Krishna in every living entity, even though his father was Hiranyakashipu, though he was torturing him in every possible way, but still he didn't consider him as an enemy, but he saw him as a part and parcel of Krishna. And even when Lord Nrsingadev appeared and asked for a benediction, he asked his father to be excused for all the things that he has done.
Haribol. Maybe we can do two more. Prabhu, if you can go to 11.3.21 and say the translation.
Therefore, any person who seriously desires real happiness must seek a bona fide spiritual master and take shelter of him by initiation. The qualification of the bona fide guru is that he has realized the conclusions of the scriptures by deliberation and is able to convince others of these conclusions. Such great personalities who have taken shelter of the Supreme Godhead, leaving aside all material considerations, should be understood to be bona fide spiritual masters.
I'll give you a moment to think about it, but can you summarize this verse in 5 words or less?
One must get a guru who is realized. Okay, get guru who who is realized.
Get guru who is realized. I like that. That's good. That's good. Do you have another one?
take initiation from bona fide guru.
Like that too, that's good. This verse also mentioned that it's important for one's guru to have realized the conclusions of scripture by deliberation. Why is that important? The verse mentions how it's important for the guru to have realized the conclusions of the scriptures by deliberation. Why is that important for a guru?
So we learn about theoretical knowledge and realized knowledge. So it's important for a guru to understand or realize a conclusion of the scripture so that he can explain to them, everyone, in a way that they can relate to them. And also explain to different people based on their levels.
Exactly. Then Anama, you wanted to add something to that?
I was just going to say that realizing what the knowledge given in the scriptures is also what we've seen in other acharyas, like Shukadev Goswami, Yasvanubhavam. He self-assimilated, he understood what the knowledge in the Vedas and all that is. So he didn't just read it and that's it. So.
Yeah, and there's a specific, go ahead.
Also, if the guru is not convinced about the supremacy of the Supreme Lord and in the scriptures, then the disciples get confused and bewildered. That's why it's important for a guru to have complete faith and be able to convince other people about the Vedic scriptures.
Yes, there's a line actually in the purport of this verse that really validates everything all three of you said. Without scriptural knowledge and practical realization of the personality of Godhead, a so-called guru will be unable to dissipate the doubts of his disciples, therefore unable to execute the function of bringing the sincere student back home, back to Godhead. So that exactly is what all three of you said. Great job. Thank you. And we'll do one last question. Could we go to 11:11:18 and say the translation?
If, through meticulous study, one becomes expert in reading Vedic literature, but makes no endeavor to fix one's mind on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then one's endeavor is certainly like that of a man who works very hard to take care of a cow that gives no milk. In other words, the fruit of one's laborious study of Vedic knowledge will simply be the labor itself. There will be no other tangible result.
This verse describes how it's important to not just accumulate knowledge, not just know things from the Vedas, but to also realize the goal, which is ultimately to direct your mind towards Krishna, towards the Bhagavan. And so this whole thing we're doing with Shastra Jam, right? A lot of it is rooted in learning verses. So I was hoping if you all can, multiple people ideally, could describe how learning these verses has helped you do just that. Increase your devotion, affection for Lord, increase your relationship with Him.
There are many beautiful verses that I felt really sweet reading them. But there is verses related to specific Kali Yuga that actually explains how Kali Yuga is in 7 or 8 verses. But then the beauty of the thing is it gives the direct solution saying that Nama Sankirtan is the direct dharma. The first half when it's explaining the bad things of Kali Yuga, I can actually see what's going out in the world. It's very easily Satyatve Darshyame Vahi, as long as you are confident, then you are the truth-speaking man. There's so many like that. But then after that it says, Kaler Dosheni De Rajan, Astiyaku Mahan Gunan, and then Krite Dhyayato Vishnum. So all this says how the Kali Yuga is so bad, and so is truthful accepting Nam Sankirtan as Dharma. So it just increased my confidence in our movement and commitment to this.
Would anyone else like to add anything? Kautukarna Prabhu.
When we go for book distribution, Prabhu, we meet many people who have different gods, different incarnations. So it is good if we know the scriptural basis for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We are offering them Chaitanya Charitamrita. We offer them because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in these verses, we hear from Kar Bhajan Muni that these are the descriptions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam. Sangopangastra Parshadam Yagne Sankirtane Prayar Yajanti Sumedasa. So it's very clearly mentioned. So it gives me faith and gives me more fixity on the Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy.
Nice. And then
as part of this exercise, when we were reading all the verses offered by different great devotees like Karbajana Muni, Havir, and then and Krishna instructing Uddhava and all these things, it is so nice to see what their mood was in saying these verses or in giving those instructions. So I was just mentioning to Gitavali this morning also that the verse Svapadamulam Bhajata Priyasya, if by this process of reading, understanding, reciting the verses from Bhagavatam, if you are able to establish Krishna in our heart somehow or other, then even if we do any sinful activity or anything which we don't want to accidentally and we commit that, Krishna within our heart cleanses that heart and makes it suitable for us to continue our devotional service. That is so encouraging for everybody, because in this world everybody is suffering and they do not know how to relieve their suffering. But if we know that Krishna is there to help us in every step of our way, even if it is in a difficult moment, then it is a great hope for the people in the world. So.
maybe we can do one more, yes.
I just wanted to say that all these verses are so heavily quoted in any lectures we hear from Srila Prabhupada, our Guru Maharaj, or any other, senior devotees also. So it's very easy to connect. And whenever I read, I remember, I heard, but now I know the meaning. So it's just that the connection, it gets better and firm. So that's what.
Yeah, I relate to that one personally because I know there's been many times when I've read a book or read something from the scriptures from Bhagavatam, or I'm listening to a lecture, and then they'll say the verse, and now I know what the verse means. So it just makes it helps me understand whoever's speaking or reciting that verse or quoting it and trying to make a connection to something else. It helps me understand the connection better because now I know what verse they're referring to. Last thing I want to say did you want to add something? Yeah, go for it.
Just one thing, I really like the lecture Guru Maharaj gave on Gaur Purnima, where he quoted the verse Teyam Sada Paribhavganam Abhishtadoam. And he was mentioning how the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya are shelter of all the holy places. So I was just reflecting on how much I have underestimated bowing down to Lord Chaitanya. So that's one practice I took out of this verses and that lecture, is to intentionally and with all my heart bow down to Lord Chaitanya. And not feel very bad if you're not able to go to the yatras.
The last thing I want to say about all of these devotees is that I did not share any of these questions with them. This was all spontaneous. It shows the time and effort that they've all put in learning the verses, not just the Sanskrit, but the translations, the purports as well. And I know they're not the only ones. I've just happened to they're up here, so I'm using them. So I want to express my gratitude and thank you all for coming up here. The last few things I want to say before we wrap up here is that first I want to express my gratitude to many people actually. So first I will give a big thank you to the team behind the scenes, Anapani Bhakti, Madhuri Saki, Anushri, Anshu, Adriraj Prabhu, and Abhay, who all make this whole thing possible. They're the ones that put in the work to create the PDFs, to make everything, print the PDFs, to do different things, to make sure everything is organized, things are done timely. And they do all this, most importantly, while being students, while going to school, while dealing with different challenges. So a big round of applause to all of them. There's two more devotees I also want to give a shout out to because they also helped in this process, even though they're not necessarily directly on the team. That's Shastasara Brother Prabhu and Tejas Prabhu, who helped a great deal in compiling the commentaries and putting all of that together. So shout out to them as well. The next thank you goes out to the entire community. All of you are the ones that participate, that actually take the time to learn the verses. So I have deep gratitude for all of you. And the last one is, of course, for Guru Maharaj, to His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu for being the constant inspiration for all of us. The last thing I'd like to do is to actually recognize by name all the devotees who participated in this campaign. If you didn't know, we actually have different levels that devotees can complete. There's a participation level in which devotees can complete any verse they want. There's level 1, which includes, I think, 5 verses, level 2, which is 10 verses, level 3, which is 21 verses, and then level 4, which is the entire set of 42 verses. So what I'll do is that I'll say all the names for each level, and maybe we can give them gratitude and clap for them after I give the names for each level. So I'll start with the participant level. There's Prishni Kulkarni, Premanishta Mataji, Agastya Sharma, Adiraj Prabhu, Radhakripa Prabhu, and Kishori. For level 1, the first person I want to give a special shout out to, because this devotee is all the way from the UK and she's still doing all of this. So this is Hinel. Then there's Halda Rup Prabhu, Kameshwari Mataji, Anapayani Bhakti, and Lakshmi. Also Arman. For level 2, there's also another devotee from the UK, Indrani. Then there's Ananga Sundari Mataji, Shraddha Mataji, Bhagavat Pran Prabhu, and Manjari Gopika Mataji. So one devotee for level 3, which is Jai Shri Mataji. Lastly, for our level 4 stalwarts, Shamalangi Mataji, Achyuta Chaitanya Prabhu, Malini Mataji, Kunjari, Kumari Lila Mataji, Gautam Karnava Prabhu, Nikunja Nayak Prabhu, Apara Gaurangi Mataji, Aname Prabhu, Aradhika Anuradha Mataji, and Rati Prada Mataji. So I think that concludes what we have for this campaign. Keep your eyes out for the next one and be ready to get back into it. I'll pass it to Devavrata Prabhu for the next segment, I believe. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So thank you all very much for coming today, and I'll be giving a presentation today about a new youth preaching initiative which we're developing here at ISV. It's the specific reason why I've moved here, to develop this project under the guidance and shelter of all of you, specifically my Guru Maharaj, His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu. So without further ado, we'll begin. Our project is known as WISE. There's many projects like this around the world. There's Pandavasain, there's Voice, there's Krishna House, there's Base, there's Bhaktivedanta Youth Services, but the nature that I have is to be innovative and create new things. So we've created WISE, which stands for Wisdom, Integrity, Service, and Empowerment, and is meant to be a Krishna-conscious student collective. So this is our team. Myself, Suvarna Bindu Prabhu, and Bhakta Brian. Bhakta Brian and Suvarna Bindu are currently at Davis right now. I came down to give the presentation today. So before we begin speaking about the project, I would like to first refocus on what is the mission statement of ISV. In the book Our Family Business by His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu, he states that the mission statement of ISV is to serve all living entities by widely distributing the holy names, transcendental literature, and Krishna Prashadam. So any project which comes under the umbrella of ISV, it's meant to ultimately facilitate and expand this aforementioned purpose. So, wait a minute. There we go. So what is our goal in being at ISV? So there is a Christian pastor named Rick Warren who wrote a book called Purpose Driven Church, and he explains that every town and village doesn't mean that you just go out and you can influence every village. There's a particular person who's able to influence a particular demographic, and in this way everyone can have service in expanding the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. Of course, he uses it in a Christian context, but I'm adjusting the language for the Sankirtan movement. So we feel, and we've been guided by Guru, Krishna, and the Vaishnavas to specifically give attention and time and energy to students at universities. So we want to distribute the holy names, prashadam, and transcendental literature amongst university and college students. So what is our mission? To eradicate spiritual apathy among youth, one university and book at a time. And our goal by doing this is to educate students, train them to become devoted and active missionaries, and prepare them for leadership roles in ISKCON. So why is this important? For the devotee community, this is important because right now ISKCON lacks proper, adequate facilities to actually give the youth which have been raised in the movement an opportunity to continue practice once they're actually in the university and college. I have a god brother up in Seattle. He was telling me recently that his sister is currently in the process of entering into the university. And his parents and her, they don't quite know where she should go because there's no clear way of evaluating where can she get devotee association, engage in service, and take prashadam. And things are quite decentralized with our college outreach in ISKCON right now, especially at least in North America. So this is an issue because you'll find if you go to any university or college campus in the United States of America, you will find that every tradition has a house a stone's throw away from the university. Muslim, Jews, Christians, all of them have some type of facility to give training and education to students and simultaneously engage in ministry work to engage those who have not been in touch with their faith previously. So ISKCON currently doesn't have this on a systematic, widespread way on a nation level in North America. So what is my personal observation and experience? I've been doing traveling Sankirtan, as some of you may know, for the last 8 years out of LA. And it has been my observation after traveling to practically every university on the West Coast that there's no campus on the West Coast which can offer a comprehensive training for students to live, be trained, and be educated in the principles of Krishna consciousness. There may be clubs, there may be some type of association one day a week, but in terms of giving students a full immersion while they're in the university, there's practically none. So why is this important on a broader scope? We've addressed the devotee community, now let's address the general public. I would like to ask all of you if you can tell me what you think the number one public health crisis is in the United States of America now. By a raise of hands. Mental health, that's right. This is Dr. Vivek Murthy. He was the former U.S. Surgeon General. He said that mental health is now the defining public health crisis. When I was growing up, it was heart disease. Now it is a mental health disease. And how many of you know someone who's struggling with some type of stress, anxiety, or loneliness? Practically everyone. What you'll find interesting about this statistic is specifically here, we have mental health illness where the age group which it affects the most is actually young adults between the ages of 18 and 26. And the underlying cause of this mental health issue is loneliness, and what's expanding its influence is the use of social media, which a study which has been approved by the U.S. Surgeon General now says that the use of social media and electronics by youth when they're young, it is just as dangerous as the use of alcohol or cigarettes. Of course, we know that many youths are worried about the future, climate change, politics, so many uncertainties. They're very unclear about what the future brings in their life. So the Krishna consciousness movement has a very wonderful opportunity. So I would like everyone to think for a moment, pause for a moment, and think that if we had facilities in practically every university across the country of students living together, practicing Krishna consciousness, spreading Krishna consciousness, and training them for the future to actually take up responsibility for guiding the Sankirtan movement into the future. Because right now, we have a bit of an epidemic even within ISKCON. When Srila Prabhupada first developed the movement, practically most of the devotees were between the ages of 18 and 26. Now there's a huge scarcity of young devotees coming in, local devotees coming in, who are ready to take up responsibility for moving the Sankirtan movement into the future. So I'll give a little bit of a history of what we're doing. I first developed this idea with Suvarna Bindu and Bhakta Brian. Suvarna Bindu was in Croatia for 30 plus years, where he was a Bhakta leader, he was the head pujari, he was engaging in many services, and he came to Los Angeles and was offered the ashram manager position. And I had been receiving training and education in Pune in the principles of youth preaching for nearly 4 or 5 years. And so then we became aligned in our values, and we started to want to focus on youth and college students to give them an opportunity to practice Krishna consciousness. The first recipient of our activities was Bhakta Brian. This is my first time meeting Bhakta Brian. He bought a Chaitanya Charitamrita, a Chaitanya Charitamrita, a Srimad Bhagavatam, and a Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. When we went to that school, I told my traveling Sankirtan partner, I'm going to give him all the books no matter what. So Brian and I started reading Srimad Bhagavatam, and he became very interested, and he wanted to know, what can we do for his peers? So I said, let's start doing programs. This became the seed for the project, which we would begin in San Luis Obispo beginning in 2023. And this was 2 days after we had this conversation, Brian sent me this. Now for me as a preacher and an educator, this was like for a parent receiving like a drawing from their child. Because I didn't ask him to do this, he did this on his own, and he just put this together. You can see it's very simplistic, it's very rudimentary, but the heart of it is what I appreciated. It was a blossoming of bhakti within the life of a student. So that led to us developing Wisdom Talks, which was an initiative we developed at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. It was a weekly sangha for students to come and chant Hare Krishna, take prasadam. So while we were in San Luis Obispo, we distributed 417 plates of prasadam. We reached nearly 9,000 students through contact collection and through flyer distribution. We distributed nearly 5,000 books, including 10 Srimad Bhagavatam sets to students, and 300 students were introduced to a practice of daily chanting. So the highlight of our time in San Luis Obispo, without a doubt, was by the mercy of Vaisheshika Prabhu and Nirkula Mataji, my Guru Maharaj and Guru Ma, Vaisheshika Prabhu came to San Luis Obispo where we launched the 4 questions. This was our poster, which we designed for the on-campus program. You can see that we had nearly 40 students attend this program on campus, all of them mostly local students who were raised in California. This is the program we did at Bhakta Brian's house called Wisdom Talks. And you can see once again, we have nearly 40 students attending. This is a video from the kirtan which took place. I think Radha Kripa Prabhu, Apara Gaurangi Mataji, and Sri Antariksha came and blessed us with their association. So what was amazing about that kirtan is that everyone in the room was chanting and dancing enthusiastically. People, whether they had chanted before or have never chanted at all of them were chanting and dancing. It was completely intoxicating. This is students receiving 4 questions. So this was actually the second official book launch of 4 questions after the program, which was done at Stanford. Something which kind of spontaneously arose out of that visit is at the programs we were inviting students, why don't you come in the morning for our morning program? And to our great surprise, we had nearly 10 students attend each morning. So this is students going on a morning walk with Vaisheshika Prabhu, engaging in a customized morning program, and engaging in the process of chanting Hare Krishna. This is our Japa circle, and this was a resident of San Luis Obispo, Bhakta Caesar, getting a Srimad Bhagavatam set. So we found that San Luis Obispo, although there was a lot of success, it was quite isolated. And also, in terms of resources moving forward, it was quite unclear how we were going to do it. So we wanted to adjust things, adjust our managerial authority in order to expand our influence of this model. So we decided to come to ISV. And the reasons for coming to ISV is that ISV has a proven track record of being successful in preaching. It's in complete alignment with the vision which we had, or rather we were complete in alignment with their vision. And it's a strategic location because it has so many universities scattered all throughout the Bay Area. It's already empowering the next generation of leaders. So we have a community for students to enter into. And it was an excellent place to create a precedent for college preaching, which we can then advertise and expand all throughout the country. So our future vision begins now. We are now at UC Davis, where we've recently opened a college preaching hub, where students are coming for weekly programs. We have a program called Wisdom Talks. We're distributing books, we're distributing flyers, we're regularly inviting students over for lunch. And so far we've conducted 5 Wisdom Talks programs, an average attendance of 6 to 10. We have about 405 contacts which we've collected. 4 students have attended our morning program. 1,791 individual books distributed on the campus. And one Srimad Bhagavatam set was distributed to a UC Davis student. I also want to, it's not in here, but I want to tell one story real quick. We've actually saved one life. There was a boy who had a breakup with his girlfriend, and he was becoming mentally neurotic. And he comes from an Indian background, and he met us on book distribution, and he revealed to us that he had actually had a gun in his apartment. And he was completely unstable. So through talking with him and persuading him with him, we convinced him to get rid of the gun. He later came to us and told us that if it wasn't for you, I probably would have used that to take my own life. And now he's decided to go back to India to kind of get his circumstance back together. But just by being there the short period of time that we've been there, we've substantially saved at least one person's life. This is an article in the school newspaper, which was produced by the school. And our long-term vision for being here at ISV is we want to establish a network of student-run WISE centers, which means every university and college which exist within the Bay Area, they should have some type of facility where students can come, live, take prasadam, practice Krishna consciousness, and be trained in the principles to be able to expand the Krishna consciousness movement itself. We want to create a preaching materials database. This means that if people want to engage in youth preaching, they don't necessarily have to adopt our model, but we can present materials which have been successful to reaching the current generation of youth. So we want to create a database. We're already starting to do this by being in touch with Swami Bhagavan Keshav Maharaj's Wisdom That Breathes, being in touch with Bhakti community, but we want a centralized location where this material can be made available. We want to develop a year-by-year curriculum for students who are living in the center, and we want to create a systematic training program for Vaishnava behavior and culture. And as a byproduct of having been on the campus, we want to create a space where people can have a foundation for practicing Krishna consciousness, which then acts as the catapult for the rest of their life. So we want to establish a brahmachari ashram here at ISV. So just some concluding words from our acharyas. Srimad Bhagavatam should be introduced also in the schools and colleges, for it is recommended by the great student devotee Prahlad Maharaj in order to change the demoniac face of society. This was in Srila Prabhupada's preface to the Srimad Bhagavatam, which means he wrote it at Chippiwada or Radha Damodar, so he had a far-reaching vision to reach the educated class of people. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur had an idea of having youth hostels and universities and campuses in London, which he considered to be like sugar-coated pills in order to inject the medicine of Krishna consciousness. And of course, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that the greatest service which one can do is to create missionaries of the Sankirtan movement. So we're not interested in just having students and come live with us, but we want to see them take up responsibility to spread the Sankirtan movement, because advancement in Krishna consciousness means taking on inconvenience for the benefit of others. So this is how we can measure our success. And of course, from all of you, we're just simply seeking your prayers. So we offer this verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita. My path is very difficult. I'm blind and my feet are slipping again and again. Therefore, may the saints, all of you, help me by granting me the stick of their mercy as my support. Thank you all very, very much. Hare Krishna. So we can have comments or questions for 2 minutes. Yes.
Hare Krishna. What would you say is the single most significant part of the programs that have helped attract people? What is, at the fundamental level, what needs to happen in order to get people to come?
I would say faith in the process of Krishna consciousness. If one has faith in the process of Krishna consciousness, specifically the style of Krishna consciousness which Srila Prabhupada gave to us, that is what's most effective. You can do this, you can do that, you can serve this food, you can serve that food, you can dress like this, you can dress like that. But if you don't have faith in Krishna consciousness, all of it will be secondary. But if your faith in Krishna consciousness is strong, then anyone can be attractive, because the manifestation of that faith will be a natural display of the 6 loving exchanges described by Rupa Goswami, which Srila Prabhupada says is the way people become attracted to the Krishna consciousness movement. So if there's faith in the process given by Srila Prabhupada and Rupa Goswami, then naturally everything will come. Oh, Tadiya Seva. 30 seconds. Okay. Tadiya Seva, Prabhu.
Prabhupada Pranam. This is a great initiative. You are doing such an excellent job. I'm just adding few comments. It's not any way to replace your work or your vision. This kind of preaching activity is already going in big universities like IIT and several universities in India. Through one of these programs only I came into Krishna consciousness, and especially we had, when I was at BITS Pilani, we were introduced into Krishna consciousness, and the initiative included morning program, especially Mangalarti, then Tulsi Puja, then Bhagavatam class, then Prasadam in the morning, and also Prasadam in the afternoon, and also Prasadam in the evening. Times. So the professor who was running this program, he took a great pain in making sure that students are sumptuously fed and they don't have to go back to the hostels, prasadam mess for eating. So they were really, really successful. And even at IIT Delhi, Krishnaspanan Prabhu successfully ran this program for almost 11 years, I think. He was very, very successful. And some of his students became IAS officers. Some of his students became IPS officers. Some of his students went to MIT and almost like top universities. And even though he is not associated with ISKCON nowadays, he still commands a great respect and great following. So there is a lot of potential which we can exploit, especially in the US, and we can mimic some of their preaching formulas and their ideas. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Devavrata Prabhu, thank you for bringing your utsahan, special enthusiasm backed with thoughtfulness, a great plan, well aligned with the purpose of ISKCON and ISV. Thank you for bringing Suvarna Bindu, Bhakta Brian. Your program has already proved to be successful. We've seen it flourish in San Luis Obispo, which was, as you said, geographically isolated, so it wasn't feasible. And because you have a plan and you have a deep realization of how important this is, and you have compassion in your heart, your coming here is a great inspiration to all of us at ISV. We pray that you'll be successful in all that you do, that you get all the support you need to continue it, and may Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Shri Lakshmi Nrsingadeva, the Panchatattva, Srila Prabhupada, and all the great acharyas continue to inspire you from within your heart and empower you to expand this all over North America and the world. Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So if anyone's going to school soon or has kids going to school soon, know that we're at UC Davis. Hare Krishna.
One last from Devavrata Prabhu. Please go, give it up. Haribol. And his team too, for his team. Hare Krishna. Now Risheshwari Leela, with their steadiness, we've been taking care of the youth here for many years and has brought this special innovative program to give youth exposure to the philosophy of Krishna consciousness by teaching it to others. Please tell us what we've won today.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. It's been a very wonderful morning. I've been hearing all along, and all our stalwarts for the Shloka showcase, and also Devavrata Prabhu, thank you for all that you've done. Today's presentation actually is by Soumya Singh, who is unable to be here in person. She'll be presenting on Zoom because of bad health, so she's just doing it on Zoom. And today's presentation is a continuation of the Dhruva Maharaj pastime. Dhruva has gone into the forest and he's been praying to the Lord. And what happens next and what we can learn from that is what Soumya will be presenting. Soumya, over to you.
Hare Krishna, my name is Soumya Singh and I am in Kaishora, and today I'll be presenting on chapter 8 of the story of Dhruva Maharaj and the lessons we can learn from his journey.
Are you able to share the presentation?
Yes, just 1 second.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna, does my presentation show?
Yes, we can see it.
So Dhruva, a young prince, was meditating on Lord Vishnu in the forest with great devotion for 6 months. His heart, once filled with envy and a thirst for power, was cleansed through his meditation. Even though his initial desires were material, Lord Vishnu, seeing the purity in his devotion, still granted him a position higher than Lord Brahma. This place is known as Dhruvaloka, which is also known as the pole star, and it's a place that remains forever. This shows that the Lord, in his infinite mercy, can transcend our material desires and grant us something if we purify our hearts. Lord Vishnu also promised Dhruva that after his father King Uttampad's retirement, he would rule the world for 36,000 years. Not only would he rule with vigor and strength, but his kingdom would also be a place of spiritual and material prosperity. This was a great boon for Dhruva as his rule brought purity and happiness to all the people. However, Lord Vishnu said that Dhruva's stepbrother Uttama would be tragically killed by a yaksha during a hunt in the forest. And while his stepmother Suruchi went out to look for Uttama, she would die in a forest fire. Lord Vishnu then spoke about the consequences of offending a devotee. When Suruchi insulted Dhruva, she couldn't have known that he would become such a great devotee of the Lord. However, as Lord Vishnu stated, no one can offend a true devotee without facing consequences. As time passed, Dhruva began to realize that no amount of material success could bring him true satisfaction. Lord Vishnu, seeing Dhruva's transformation, gifted him his own abode and freed him from the repeating cycle of birth and death. After blessing his young devotee, Lord Vishnu went back to his own spiritual abode on the back of Garuda. This shows how only devotion to the Divine Lord can lead to true spiritual fulfillment. Even after receiving everything he had once desired, Dhruva still felt unfulfilled. After his sincere devotion to the Lord, Dhruva realized how foolish his material desires had been. He understood that in the end, material success is always temporary and unsatisfying. In his own words, he spoke to himself, and he compared his earlier requests to Lord Vishnu as to a poor man asking an emperor for broken grains of rice, even when he could have had the emperor's limitless wealth. This teaches us a valuable lesson. True happiness comes only through spiritual enlightenment and devotion towards the Lord. Finally, we come to Dhruva's transforming power of devotion. Dhruva's story shows that even if we approach the Lord with material motives, but we have sincere devotion, His grace can still purify our hearts. An important lesson that can be learned from Dhruva's transformation is that the only path to true success is to surrendering to the Supreme Lord. This is a verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam that shows the transformation of Dhruva after meeting the Lord. Dhruva vacha yonta pravishya mama vacham imam parusuptam sanjivayati akhila saktidhara svadhamna anyam strahasta charana shravanatva gadin Pranam namo bhagavate purushaya tabhyam. And this translates to, Dhruva Maharaj said, "My dear Lord, you are all-powerful. After entering within me, you have enlivened all my sleeping senses, my hands, legs, ears, touch sensation, life force, and especially my power of speech. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto you." And these are some pearls of wisdom we can learn from Dhruva's story. The first one is, selflessness enlivens relationships while selfishness estranges them. And this can be seen in the story when Dhruva's shift from selfish desires to selflessness healed his relationships and granted him spiritual elevation. Disapproval of others' misdeeds is necessary, but disowning them is not. Dhruva disapproved of Suruchi's actions, but didn't harbor hatred, recognizing the consequences as the Lord's will. Pride and envy taint our vision with negativity. Dhruva's pride and envy initially clouded his judgment, leading to material desires rather than spiritual growth. Time is the bandit who forcibly strips us away of everything, accumulate which is theft-proof. Dhruva realized that material wealth is fleeting and only true fulfillment comes from spiritual devotion. And these are some success pearls of wisdom. Determination means to terminate our temptations. Guidance means finding out how to do so. Dhruva's determination in meditation and guidance from Narada helped him attain the highest spiritual reward. When we humbly seek blessings, we purchase success at a discount. After humbling himself, Dhruva received far greater blessings than he expected, achieving spiritual fulfillment. The resurgence of our need for gratification in this world shows how transient it is. Despite his material gains, Dhruva found them unsatisfying, realizing that only spiritual peace is the true goal. Be desirous of satisfaction in devotion, not fleeting pleasures in oblivion. Dhruva's fulfillment came from devotion to Lord Vishnu, not from his material accomplishments. Bring God to the foreground of your life, no matter what your background is. Dhruva, regardless of his background, put his devotion to Lord Vishnu first and achieved ultimate spiritual success. Thank you for listening. Are there any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna. Soumya, can you please stop the sharing so we can see you? Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Soumya. Thank you very much for this continuance of Krishna Katha that you've been pouring out here at ISV. It's quite pleasant. And your presentations are comprehensive. Nothing's left wanting. You give all the lessons, and your choice of photos also is very engaging. It was really a nice presentation. And I had been wondering during the presentation, since you were absorbed in all this, or I should say steeped in these transcendental topics, if any one of them very specifically came up in your mind and was something that you latched onto and were thinking about. That's the question. Any particular part of the presentation or multiple parts that you found especially important to you in your life?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for your kind comments. I found the part in my presentation when, like, all of us were trying to gain material success in life, but when we can just, like, be devoted to the Lord and gain, like, true fulfillment. So that's one thing I found interesting in the presentation, is that only with pure devotion to the Lord can we be successful and spiritually successful in life.
I have a follow-up question. In the section where you described how Dhruva Maharaja's stepmother had offended him, not knowing that he would become a great devotee, what did you make of that and how we should deal with others? Did that strike you in any way?
I realized that we should always treat others in a kind way, because we never know that if they're true devotees or not. And Lord Vishnu said that no one can hurt his true devotees without facing any consequences, even if they become a true devotee after. So we should see that Krishna is in everyone's hearts and still treat them as if they are devotee of the Lord.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Soumya. Any other devotee has any comments or questions? Okay.
Thank you so much, Soumya. It was an excellent presentation. I really liked that as you went along the various slides, that the gems were just pouring forth, one after the other, one after the other. And Anand Kishore Prabhu was sitting right next to me, and he was trying to take pictures, and he would take his camera up, take one, and there was another one. He would keep on going up and grabbing all the gems. And one takeaway for me is that, which I really liked and stood out, was when you seek blessings, you get success at a discount. That was very, very powerful. Yeah, thank you for that.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Yeah, that's my favorite too. Success at a discount. It just stands out for us, isn't it? Anyone else has any other comments and questions? Or okay. Thank you so much, Soumya. I think I don't have to speak for her. Her hard work speaks for itself, and her dedication. We can see she was not well, and it's also the time of the year where high school students are under a lot of pressure. A lot of assignments, projects are due, and in spite of that, you know, she's put in the effort. We can see the slides were so beautifully made, and all her fonts and everything so nicely picked. So thank you, Soumya, for your wonderful effort and your dedication to Krishna consciousness. It's in your genes, like I always tell her. Her parents are from Mathura. So thank you for keeping the transcendental vibration going. Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Rasheshwari Leela, for your amazing dedication and for bringing this to ISV on a regular basis. Hare Krishna. Now we have a couple of quick announcements before we have our grain ceremony, which seems to be coming in to being here in the front. And first we'll hear from Bhakti community.
Hare Krishna, everyone. By now, you all should know what is Bhakti community. If you do not know, you need to talk to me offline. We are really actually very happy. Last night, we had a program, Mantra Zone, at Prem Nam Prabhu and Tulsi Bhakti Mataji's home. They are a new couple. They moved from Australia just to do Western preaching, and that's their specialty. And we could see that in them yesterday. So you all, please, especially for these young devotees who are really interested in helping us, please encourage them and please send newcomers to Bhakti community. We have non-stop Sankirtan going on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday. All days we have programs. Look into our website, www.bhakticommunity.com, and you'll know all the information. In last night's program, there's a girl called Julia. I think you all probably have seen her many times in the temple, a tall Chinese-like girl. And she has her own channel where she helps people broadcast their messages. I think Krishna Saka, you know her, right? And she posts all our postings on her channel every week. So our Mantra Zone program, she makes sure that she posts on her channel, and she has many subscribers, and a lot of them come from her to us. And can you believe it? Why can't we do this with our own channels, with our own profiles? Just post whatever is going on. And if you don't know what's going on, please talk to me. I'll let you know what's going on. And the Julia, she gave me this box yesterday, and she gave one to Prem Nam's family also. This is all this origami. So she made all these cute origami stuff. The whole box is full of origami, and inside each of these things, there's a Bhagavad Gita shloka. And she wants kids to play with this, have fun, and then open it up and play games. So it was so exciting and so thoughtful. And Maharaj was telling it just naturally comes when they get connected. They just naturally want to do something. So people are there who are looking for such association. They are looking for such love, and they want to give back. They actually want to give back more than what we are giving to them. So please consider bringing anybody you feel is worthy coming to Bhakti community. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Pavani Bhakti. And it was the inaugural meeting at Prem Nam's and Tulsi Bhakti's house last night. Although we had a Griha Vesh ceremony several weeks ago, this was the first night in which new guests came there, where we'll be holding such events alternatively with other homes around the area. As it turns out, there's quite a few devotees with ample space and are in the right zip code, so people can come on a regular basis. So there's plenty of room. If you're worried about fitting everybody that you invite to the program, don't. There's prasadam for at least everybody in the entire Bay Area, and there's enough room to fit several thousand people in each one of these homes. Prem Nam's house could fit 3,000 people inside. So please feel free to liberally invite people to come in. Last night we had a kirtan, and as it continued, there was a collective feeling that the holy name does everything. And if people can just come into a space where they can chant Hare Krishna and feel at ease to do so, and not feel that they're constrained in any way, which we noticed last night. People started dancing naturally, and it's Lord Chaitanya's process. I was thinking that last night, that just by chanting together, everything else happens, because Krishna's doing everything. We just have to bring people together to chant, and of course, take prasadam. Thank you very much, Pavani Bhakti, and all the team members from Bhakti community, who I'll just mention. It's an extremely vital service to have buddies, because as we were discussing last night in a meeting, people come to Krishna consciousness because they have a friend who holds their hand, or somebody who's there to oversee their progress. So there's plenty of spaces open for those who want to also help in Bhakti community. And now we have Malini Devi Dasi, who's going to present today for Team ISV book distribution. Let's give her a big hand. That was all right, but that was a small hand. And that's a no hand.
Hare Krishna. We have started our Ram Navami monthly Sankirtan festival after the offering that we did last Thursday to Srimad Mahaprabhu. And our goal is little simpler because we had a big goal. But at the same time, we are starting our preparation for our Bhadra Purnima that is coming up in September. So we have started distributing Srimad Bhagavatam sets from now onwards after Gaur Purnima, leading all the way till Bhadra Purnima. For this MSF, we have a simple goal of distributing at least 25 Srimad Bhagavatam sets because we only have 3 weeks of difference between Gaur Purnima and Ram Navami. It's a short period. And also, we have started this drama that we will perform for every Ram Navami that has started as a goal for a monthly Sankirtan festival, and now it's continuing. And the goal is to meditate on the pastime of Lord Ramachandra by performing a drama. And this drama, I saw that the preparations already started in almost January, February, because they are doing in such an elaborate way. So these are the 2 goals for this monthly Sankirtan festival. And we have so many opportunities to distribute Srimad Bhagavatam. And one thing I mean, it's a good thing and a bad thing. We went to India Cash and Carry here in Cupertino last week. And when we were trying to approach people, they said, they're reminding us, remember, you gave us the full set of Srimad Bhagavatam. So we are meeting so many of them who are repeat customers that they have already taken Srimad Bhagavatam. And there was one nice gentleman we met. He said that he read the entire Srimad Bhagavatam after receiving them, and then we also invited them. So though we may not know what they're doing after receiving books, looks like the Bhagavatam is having an effect on them. And also we are inviting them to different programs, Bhakti Vrikshas, new members to Bhakti community. So this is a very satisfying process. It's like sowing the seed, not being attached to the result of whether it will fructify or not, but guaranteed it will fructify at some point or the other. So please join us today. We have spots in Cupertino, San Ramon, Dublin area. We have one in Fremont, Milpitas, and we have from Western spots. Where are we going today? Oh, they're going to Santa Cruz and also to many Indian stores in the local area. So please join us. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
And now for the main event of the day, we have first grain ceremony. And we're delighted to be able to have this special yajna here. We'll reassemble and orient ourselves towards the ceremony, which will be at the front of the room. We'll have a kirtaniya who starts a bhajan within the next minute and 32 seconds. So we have chanting of the holy name, and soon the family will arrive at the front, and we'll see you there in 2 minutes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Welcome Akshay Prabhu, Himanshi, and especially Ram. Hare Krishna, Ram. This is our first grain ceremony for Ram, and the delightful process given through the Pancharatric system is that through all the essential functions of our life, in growing up, taking first grains, which is very natural for a child around 6 months, looking over and seeing your rice and wanting some and so forth. There's a way to connect it to Krishna. And although we may think the child is not fully aware of what's happening, all of these activities and ceremonies connected to Krishna have an effect on the heart. In fact, we know that the child within the womb who's able to hear instructions, just like Prahlad, came with a predisposition for hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and practicing devotional service. And we've seen it even in our community. Taking grains at 6 months. How old is Ram? 6.5. Well, we better hurry up. It's something that he'll assimilate into the heart, and that's why it's a samskar. It's a leaving an impression that everything's connected to Krishna. So to bring auspiciousness to this ceremony, as per the Gita Mahatmya, Ram, we're going to chant for your grain ceremony now a chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The benedictions that pour forth from Krishna for those who chant the Bhagavad Gita are mentioned in the Gita Mahatmya. Every chapter has its own special way, including in the Gita Mahatmya, those who have heard the Bhagavad Gita have come back to life. So this particular chapter connects us to the Supreme Person, Purushottam Yoga, and within the chapter itself, Aham Vaishva Naro Bhutva, means that Krishna is the digestive force. He says, I'm the one doing that for you. So we especially remember this chapter, Ram, and chant it during grain ceremonies. So let's do this together. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Urvamulam Madashakam Ashvatam Prahuravyayam Jamjamsi Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Saveda Vid Adashurdvam Prashritastasya Shaka Guna Pravrida Vishaya Pravala Adashya Mulan Anusantatani Karmanubandini Manusha Loke Narupamasye Hatatopalabhyate Nanto Nachadir Nachasampratishta Ashvatamenam Sivaruda Mulam Asanga Shastrena Dritena Chitva Tadakpadam Tat Parimargitavyam Yasmin Gatana Nirvatanti Bhuya Tameva Chadyam Purusham Prapadye Yatak Praviti Prashrita Purani Manamoha Jitasanga Dosha Adhyatma Nitya Vinivrita Kama Dvanverva Mukta Sukatuka Samgyer Gachantya Mura Paramavyayam Tad Natad Pasayate Suryo Na Shashanko Na Pavakaha Yadgatva Na Nirvartante Tadama Paramamama Mamaivamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha Madakshastan Indriyani Prakriti Karshati Shariram Yadavapnoti Yachat Yukramati Shraddha Grihit Vaitani Samyati Vayurgandani Vashayat Shotram Chakshu Sparshanam Cha Rasanam Granameva Cha Atishtaya Manaschayam Vishayanupasevate Utkramantam Stitam Vapi Munjanam Vagunanvitam Vimudhananupashyanti Pashyanti Jnana Chakshushaha Yatanto Yoginaschainam Pashyantyatmanyavastitam Yatanto Pyakritatmano Nainam Pashyantya Chetasaha Yadaditya Gatam Tejo Jagadbhasayate Kilam Yachchandramasi Yachshagnau Tattejo Vidimamakam Gam Avishya Chabhutani Darayam Yaham Ojasa Pushnami Chausati Sarva Somo Bhutva Rasatmakaha Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashrita Pranapana Samayukta Pachamyanam Chaturvidam Sarvasya Chaham Hridishani Vishto Mattaksmitir Gyanam Apohanam Cha Vedaishcha Sarvedaham Vedyo Vedanta Kridveda Vedeva Chaham Dvabhimau Purusha Loke Shadas Chakshade Sarvani Bhutani Kutasto Shara Uchete Uttama Purushastvanya Paramatmet Yudharita Yo Lokatrayamavishya Vibhartavya Ishvara Yasmat Sharamatitoham Aksharadapichotama Atosmi Loke Vedecha Pratita Purushottama Yo Mameva Masambudho Janati Purushottamam Sarva Vidpachitimam Sarva Bhavena Bharata Iti Kuhyatamam Shastram Idam Uktam Mayanaka Etad Bhutva Buddhiman Syad Krita Kritasya Bharata Om Tat Sariti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Supanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Sambhare Purushottam Yogo Nama Panchadasho Dhyayaha Hari Om. And now to a little kirtan, more chanting Hare Krishna. I invite you, Ram, to come up and please take your first grains. So maybe go.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Well, besides being the best dressed here today, Ram, he was very stoic, happy at the same time of taking first grains without any remonstration whatsoever. So he's a very steady personality. We can see that. And now we have a very scientific way of determining his inclinations for the future and his future position in the world. So we'll present Ram. We have on one side Srimad Bhagavatam. We have Laghu Bhagavatamrita. That's a very heavy book. We have the Krishna book. On the other side, I see we have huge stacks of cash. Looks like a Rolex watch and many jewels and so forth. And now, Ram, if you wish, please, you can have a look at both sides and just however you feel, go for it. So best if you seat him. And so far, he's only attracted to the deities. A little bhajan, little bhajan.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Put 'em
Hare
on it.
Hare,
Actually,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Age.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
Bhagavatam here, cash over here.
Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Two hands. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Well, my on-the-spot analysis, he was definitely attracted to the Bhagavatam, especially with your suggestion. He was contemplative of both sides. And I noticed that after he had looked at the Bhagavatam and appreciated its beauty, it's as if the wealth came to him automatically. It just came sliding off the tray. Although he had one hand there, but he had his vision on the Bhagavatam at the same time, as I suspected, very balanced. And as Prabhupada used to tell us, if you worship Narayan, Lakshmi is always there. So my interpretation, which is now changing a little bit, is that he'll be a great worshiper of Srimad Bhagavatam, and that all resources, Ram, will come to you naturally because of your devotion to Lord Krishna. May you always have the association of pure devotees. May you have compassion for all conditioned souls in the material world. Confirmed. And may you always have a taste for hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. May you become a great Sankirtan devotee. May you be healthy, wealthy, a pleasure to your parents and all your friends, and may you be known all over the world as a great devotee. Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. Gaur Premanande. I hereby declare this first grain ceremony for Ram and his family to be a complete success. Everyone who agrees, say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatarubhascha kripasinabhevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Nantakodi Vaishnavi ki jai. Sharirat Vijaja Jodendriya Taheka Jive Pele Vishaya Shagare Dharma Jeti Vayati Loba Moisa Durmati Take Jeta Katita Shangshare Krishna Bada Doya Moy Kori Bare Jihajai Shaprasha Nanda Dilobai Shreya Namrita Pao Radha Krishna Gunagao Reme Dako Shri Chaitanya Nitai Reme Dako Shri Chaitanya Nitai Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Brahmani Vaishnave Sampa Punya Patam Rajan Krishna Saranada Jai Prasade Sarva Chitana Mani Rasho Pujayate Prasana Cheta Soyashu Puripaya Pita Teta Yukta Pita Shokana Vastavakara Chachitaha Utishta Bodhi Nodasa Bhavamayam Jaivahi Nityam Vaisi Tambapi Nityam Baduna Deshata Bhakti Matrena Bhaktavyam Natrakala Vicharana Deshariya Bhaktat Gana Kala Riya Bhaktat Raptamanam Krishna Krishna Bhaktarim Hadira Bravit Bhagavat Shri Mahaprasadi Ki Go Premanande Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Please come take prasada.